was taught to downplay my feelings and silence my voice. And somehow I thought that speaking up was a form of selfishness. But now I use my voice with wisdom and grace thanks to the little girl inside of me.
Elevate with Monique. Elevate. Elevate with Monique.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Elect Elevation with your girl Mo. And today in this video, we are talking about the little girl who is advocating for you to use your voice. My name is Monique McClure. I am so elated that you have decided to join me today. If you are new to Elect Elevation, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the place and space where we spend time learning new ways to elevate our personal lives in the form of inner child healing, self-awareness, and advocating for who you really are and connecting with the authentic version of you. So welcome. If you are returning to Elect Elevation, I want to say welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor, if this content resonates with you, I want you to hit the like button and let's jump right into it. Now, the reality is that many of us were not taught that it's okay to speak up and use our voice to express our needs. And because of that, we silenced the little girl inside. I know that for a fact this was my story because I was I lived and I grew up in an era where children were to be seen and not heard. And if you know anything about what I'm saying, drop a 1 in the chat because we were we just were seen. We weren't heard. We weren't really allowed to vocalize our needs, vocalize our feelings and our emotions. And as I grew and I continued to journey through, adolescent and young adult life, I just didn't have the awareness of how important it was for me to speak up, how important it was for me to advocate for myself and really say, the things that I didn't like and the things that I didn't want in my life. I didn't know how to use my voice to do that. And because of that, I started to suppress my needs. Um, I just really started to not voice what it was that I truly wanted. I knew deep down in my heart certain things that I wanted, but trying to communicate that and communicate it in a way that wasn't combative or in an argument or, in a way that was negative and sometimes even disrespectful, that just wasn't my life. It wasn't something that I knew how to do or a muscle that I had practiced. And unfortunately for me, because of that, I moved through life accepting things, not speaking up, not really living out my authentic truth because I just didn't know how to do that. And let me tell you something about living in that way. And first of all, let me say there is no judgment. If you found yourself in that same space and you've not been able to use your voice, advocate for yourself, there's no judgment here because I understand what that is like. But let me just share with you how that is a detriment to us as women, as humans overall. One, we grow the mindset that our needs really just don't matter. And that's not the truth. Your needs matter, sis. The things that you not only need, but also want in your life, they do matter. And so when you haven't found your voice and you haven't been able to speak up and articulate what it is that you need and you want, you really kind of adopt that mindset or you live in this space of telling yourself subconsciously that your needs don't matter and they really do matter. The other thing is when we allow other people to speak up for us or speak over us, we silence the wisdom that comes from the little girl inside of us. I mentioned in another video, I talked about how wise that little girl inside actually is, how much we can really learn from the inner child and being able to allow that inner child to lead us. But when we don't use our voice, when we don't speak up for ourselves, we silence her, and we kind of pause the wisdom. I won't say we lose the wisdom because it's always there, but we pause the wisdom and the ability to operate from that wisdom because we're not allowing ourselves to speak up. And then we are also taught to be quiet and low maintenance because it's safe. But that is a lie. Baby, I am not low maintenance at all. Nothing about me is low maintenance. And why do I want to be? I don't want to be low maintenance. And when I didn't know how to use my voice, I I thought I adopted this mindset that, oh, if I stay quiet, if I don't rock the boat, if I don't say what's on my mind and my heart, and I just stay in this pretty little box, that you know, I'm safe. And my world will be okay. But honey, that was a lie. It was such a lie because what happened was I started to become resentful because everybody else around me was living out their truth. They were living in the moment. They were living from a space of boldness and audacity. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was over here silencing myself, thinking that I'm being safe and, not really expressing the needs that I have. But I was the one losing. So when you think that, oh, if I stay, in this box that people want me to stay in, if I stay low maintenance, and let me just pause right there and say high maintenance does not mean that you have to have the latest bag or you have to drive the, flyest car. High maintenance means that you have standards for yourself. It means that you are not going to just go for anything and fall for everything. It means that you have boundaries that you have created, not only for yourself, but for other people. See, when you are low maintenance, that means that you don't require much, which means that almost whatever comes towards you or comes near you, you might take it. You might be okay with it. No, 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 sweetheart. You are high maintenance. You are created in the image of God and his likeness, which means that nothing about God is low maintenance. Nothing about God is average or mediocre. And so it is with you. So remember that. Now, let's talk about some ways in which you are able to start to empower yourself to use your voice. Okay. The first thing that I would say is just finding your voice, finding ways to articulate and practicing expressing your needs, practicing saying, I would like this, practicing saying, I do not like that. Practice saying, no, that is not going to work for me, or yes, that is exactly what I need at this time in my life. Using your voice. I talk a lot about using your voice. Finding your voice means that you are not afraid to say the thing that sometimes might disrupt the energy. It might disrupt the expectation of other people. That's okay. They will continue to live, sis. They will be okay. But you don't do yourself a justice when you don't use your voice. So find your voice. Practice using your voice. Practice using your words. I find it so interesting that this day and age with social media, we're doing a lot of scrolling, right? Even when we meet people, we're doing a lot of texting, but we're not talking. We're not using our words. And what you don't use, you lose. And so I am encouraging you, use your words, learn new vocabulary words, practice using them. It's funny because when I think about high maintenance, um, I used to get teased a lot about the way that I talk and the things that I would say. And to me, that was just an indication that I was learning to increase and elevate the way in which I communicate and articulate myself, right? But using that in a way that is not weaponizing, but it's actually advocating for yourself. I promise you, the little girl inside of you, she will start to rise up. She will start to tell you what it is that she needs. Also, Using your voice empowers you to speak up for both of you. Think about it. That little girl inside, she can't talk. She can only talk to you in your heart. And so you have to speak up for her. You have to be her advocate. Use her wisdom and what she's showing you and sharing with you to advocate and speak up for the both of you because you absolutely deserve it, sis. Now, listen, I want you to do this activity and I want you to take a moment to really sit with this. I want you to ask the little girl inside, like, when did you start to silence your voice? Maybe it was something that you've always done all of your life and you might still be doing right now. Let her tell you that. Have you silenced your voice? Have you found your voice? And I want you to write that down. I want you to write down what comes up for you when it comes to where you are with using your voice and speaking up and speaking your truth. Listen, I know that you have silenced her long enough, and it is time to emerge, sis. So I want you to take this assessment, the inner child connection assessment, so that you can identify, do you even have a connection with her to even be able to hear her voice? And if you don't, how do we need to start empowering you to connect with that little girl inside so that you can speak up and advocate for the both of you? Listen, I love you and I cannot wait to continue this journey with you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.